Continuing now with our lead story, President Obama's contraception compromise. And with us now to explain how the Obama administration came to this decision, David Drucker. He's a political reporter for Roll Call, a Capitol Hill news outlet. David, so did they just not anticipate that Catholics and other religious folks across the country didn't want this type of edict crammed down their throats from HHS?
I think they completely misconstrued how this was going to play nationwide. They looked at this, I think, as a classic left-right divide on social issues like abortion, where most Democrats and liberals tend to be pro-choice. Most conservatives, Republicans, tend to be pro-life, although there's some variation in there. This has played as a religious freedom issue rooted in the First Amendment. It cuts across party lines, and that's why it has been a complete mess for the administration and why they very quickly moved to walk it back in some fashion.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like it's satisfying the concerns, at least so far, of Republicans on Capitol Hill and even the Catholic bishops who said, well, there might be more signs of hope, but the devil here is going to be in the details. And when you define a religious institution, what does that mean? And what about the religious conscience of every other employer out there? Who, I mean, just because they're employer doesn't mean they don't have a moral conscience.
No, this is still, I think, problematic. We're going to have to see, first of all, how do Democrats on Capitol Hill react? There were a number of prominent Democrats on the Hill that were not happy with the original rule. I want to see what they have to say about the new rule. I want to see if Republicans are going to continue to push this. From what we've been able to tell so far, this issue, as far as they're concerned, hasn't been dealt with adequately. And I think that if you want to know how much the Obama administration recognized its mistake, go no further than the president's rhetoric in announcing the change in the rule. If you look at this, to me, this was very sort of conservative rhetoric that you don't often hear from Obama. We have been mindful that there's another principle at stake here, and that's the principle of religious liberty, an inalienable right that is enshrined in our Constitution. And then he goes on to say, as a citizen and as a Christian, I cherish this right. I mean,
he said that but as he went along to say we're going to continue to force insurance companies, also some of their boards and their CEOs might have religious reservations about providing this, but that doesn't matter. But you're right, the rhetoric was interesting.
And he's in a box because you had liberals, you had Democrats on the Hill come out in force. They were in support of the regulation in its original form, and that's why it's a difficult capitulation for him.
So Boxer, Pelosi, etc.
Well, and you had Democrats in the House. You had a lot of female lawmakers.
Now, Kristen Gillibrand, who herself is going to maybe have some trouble in her re-election bid.
Correct. You have the activist groups. And so, you know, it's one thing to walk back something that everybody doesn't really care about. It was just a big mistake. But when you have your party's base come out basically in full-throat support of something you do, then to simply walk it back, you look like you're caving to pressure from Republicans, and it doesn't make them feel good. And if you look at everything Obama's done over the past couple of months, in a sense, it's been primary season for him. He's checked the box with environmentalists on the Keystone XL pipeline. He was doing this.
Planned Parenthood's happy about this. This is rhetoric over reality here. But Planned Parenthood's happy. That's all you need to know. That's all. I mean, I look at this. If Planned Parenthood's happy, you know, there are a lot of people who are going to be unhappy. But I don't think the Democrats are going to give him much trouble for this at all. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you.